So, Angela Rayner,
Hello.
welcome back to Times Radio. You have been on before.
I have, but we've always Zoomed. We've never actually met in person.
But I was looking it up. It's 5 years and a day since I interviewed the first time. Do you remember that?
Was it?
In Brighton.
Oh, yeah. What did we say? Was it bad?
It was a very early morning
It would have been bad.
podcast thing.
It would have been bad in the morning.
You were a young high flyer then.
I don't do mornings.
A rising star.
Like Keir loves mornings.
Does he?
Yeah, so this is the yin and yang again thing. Okay, so Keir is your morning person.
Yeah.
I'm your afternoon, evening person.
So how early in the mornings are you texting you?
He would text really early if he needed to.
How early?
He's one of those annoying
6?
He's one of those annoying people in the office that says, "Let's meet at 7:30 or 8," and you're looking at them thinking, "Really?" Like.
So what would you rather like meet late at night?
Yeah, I would. I'm definitely meet me at 2:00 in the morning. I'm cool with that. But 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, it's very antisocial.
What's the earliest he's ever had you in a meeting?
7.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, awful.
I know. And he's probably learnt that I'm not at my best at that time, so he hasn't done it ever since.
So he does them later now.
He does them later now for me. Yeah, he knows that's better for me.
And what do you do at what do you do at conference? How do you fill your day?
Well, I mean,
and do you ever get to relax?
Right, well, you become institutionalised at conference, so I'm not allowed to fill my day. I have my amazing staff that do lots of stuff, and they deal with the zillion appointments that I have, letting people down so I don't look like the bad guy, and making sure that I have things...
So that's your team here?
Yeah, that's my team.
They're the bad guys?
They're the good guys to me, but the bad guys to people that don't get in my diary.
Yeah.
But they protect me and look after me and make sure that I can actually humanly do my diary.
What's the one thing you always make sure you do?
The mirror do.
The mirror party. Well, we'll cut that out. We're not putting that
in. You got to keep that in. No, the one. I mean, clearly the one thing.
Are you a singer? Are you a karaoke?
I love karaoke.
Do you?
Yeah. Don't love me.
What's your go-to song?
Oh, you to me are everything. The sweetest song that I could sing. Oh, baby.
That's what I done. Now, talking of music, enough is enough.
Yes.
We were going to get you on before. I think the government collapsed.
I think other people have stolen it now as well, haven't
exactly.
they?
But this is the thing you were making. Enough is enough. A thing at PMQs.
Yeah.
I remixed it into the Donna Summer.
We should have got copyright on this. You know what I mean? It's starting to take off now. Even the Conservatives have had enough themselves.
Is enough is enough a better slogan than your cut? What is the conference slogan? Go.
It's greener.
No.
It is green.
Yeah.
It's got green in it.
What is it?
It's green.
What's the conference slogan?
Green.
It's not green.
It's got green in it. It's got green in it.
Yeah. What's the rest of it? Do you genuinely not know what it is?
No, I do. It's lovely. Green future Britain. It is.
Enough is enough would be better.
I know, but I didn't get to pitch it. I think somebody else stole it beforehand.
Do you think, because part of me thinks that what's happening in the country right now is terrible. You know, clearly.
It is.
Lots of people are having a terrible time cost of living. What's happening with the pound seems wild.
Yeah.
And actually fairer, cleaner, sweeter Britain doesn't really rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
Getting yours, I feel like you're the yin and yang thing a bit. Keir's the calm, steady hand.
He is.
You're the one who gets angry about this stuff.
I get it. I mean, Keir gets emotional and angry about it. He just shows it in different ways.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's any less passionate than me. He's just very more restrained than me. I just wear my heart on my sleeve, so to speak. What you see is what you get. I'm very northern. It's a northern thing. It's why they say that, like, we look like bulldog chewing a wasp most of the time, but we're really nice people. You know, if you fall over in the street, we'd pick you up, but we do look a bit grumpy, if I'm honest. I can say that as a northerner.
So how do you feel right now, given what's happened, the policies announced on Friday, and what's happening to the economy right now?
I feel really concerned about the future, if I'm honest. You know, the next couple of days, what's the Bank of England going to do? What's it going to do to interest rates? Yeah. How that's going to affect us in terms of our debt and, you know, borrowing. I am worried genuinely about the economy, and quite frankly, you know, we are optimistic. We're not like, you know, it's a done deal, but we are optimistic we can win the next general election. But winning the next general election, and the Conservatives have ruined the economy, is not good. You know, we want the economy to be stable because we need good public services, and we need to be in a position where we can actually grow our economy, which the Conservatives have failed to do for 12 years. So on a genuine level, the more damage they do now means that the next Labour government has to undo that, which prohibits us then to get on the front foot of doing the things we really want to do and bring in the amount of investment that we think we need to really turn the economy around and create the growth.
You talked about now think it's not a done deal, but you're now more confident potentially with Labour winning an election. Have you felt like that before?
I think, I think in 2019 me and Keir took over and everyone, if we'd have said
2020.
Yeah, but if in 2009 when we lost the general election and me and Keir was in the competition and we won in 2020, then if you'd have asked us then, could you win next term, most people would have laughed at us if we'd have said we could have come back from that. But actually, me and Keir had a confidence that people voted Conservative, and there's so many people that said to me, it's your fault we voted Conservative because we couldn't vote for you, that actually it wasn't a positive vote for the Conservatives, it was actually you never gave us the opportunity to vote for you, and I felt that's something to work with, and we had to understand that, and we had to let the voters know that we understood that, and that's the important thing, not patronising, but actually take a deep dark look at yourself, realise that you're part of the problem. If all your relationships are going wrong, Matt, you've got to realise you're the common denominator and you're the problem. When you do that as a collective, as a political movement, that's even harder to do, especially when you're looking at things that you hold dear to your heart: anti-Semitism, anti-racism, misogyny. These are things that we stand for, that we don't tolerate, and yet we were found to be absolutely wanting in those areas. So I think we had to take a deep dark look at ourselves. We've done that. It was difficult, and it feels this conference is about us going out to the voters and showing what we are and what we can do for the country.
There is a very different atmosphere to even the past couple of years, and then
Sure. It was never going to be easy to take a look at yourself in that way and to say, do you know what? I'm part of the problem. And it's not one person. It wasn't, just get rid of one person, it'll all be fine.
Like Jeremy.
Well, there was a problem, there was a fundamental...
Getting rid of him didn't solve the problems in the party.
Well, it would never solve the problem in the party because it wasn't a one individual issue. There was a fundamental problem with the way people saw the Labour Party and, in the red wall areas, I'd say we felt patronised. Our voters felt patronised by the Labour Party. We had to really fundamentally stop, recognise where the problem is, and then listen. And then come up with the solutions. And I think we're at that stage now where people are saying, OK, we're listening. What have you got to say?
Given what's happened in the past couple of days, we've got a new Prime Minister, and there's arguments about whether or not you need to have a new election. We've got a new Prime Minister. But when you have a new Prime Minister pursuing a fundamentally different policy to the one the party, the Conservatives, were elected on, do you think we should just have a general election now? Is it the Labour Party calling for an election now? I
mean, we're ready for a general election. I don't think the Conservatives will call one now, but we're ready for a general election. And I think that, the situation at the moment is so grave, the markets are so spooked by what the Conservatives have said on Friday, that actually they really need to get a grip of this, because I don't see how we can go forward, certainly up until the Bank of England are not due to meet until November. I really don't see how we get from where we are now until November in a situation where obviously we need to stabilise the market, we need to make sure that there's confidence in the programme for the government so that we don't end up in a really serious situation. And that is my appeal really to the government, is that this is not just about party political politics. This is really quite serious, and it's going to affect people's real lives, mortgage, interest rates, day-to-day living costs, all of these things. If you're not on £155,000 a year or above, you're going to be worse off as a result of Friday's budget.
And how do you feel then about Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng pursuing something which country didn't vote for? It's so ideological. Actually, in a way, quite often when we talk about very strong ideology, there's not that much between a lot of politicians. This is something we haven't seen for such a long time.
Yeah, because it's so reckless. That's the problem with it. Rachel outlined in her speech today, trickle-down economics has been proven not to work. This is not investing in our country for the long term. Even the announcements on businesses to support them with the energy price cap, it's a 6-month cliff edge. That's not good for the market. Businesses can't run on 6 months, and the economy has got no confidence that will continue going forward. This is no way to run a country. We need a consistent approach that gives confidence. You can't turn around and do away with what people have said, cut taxes and increase borrowing. You can't do that. Something has to give somewhere. And we've had 12 years of them saying, we'll grow the economy, we'll grow the economy. They haven't done that yet. It's a very risky casino-style gamble.
Does it feel a bit weird, you and the Labour Party giving the Tories a lecture in balancing the books and sound?
I reckon there's a few Tories in the quiet that are giving them a very big lecture at the moment. I just think that they have gambled our economy at a time when we really don't need to be gambling. We really need to be, talking about sustainable future growth of the country, investing it in British industry at the moment when we need it the most, renewables. We know it's not a new thing that we need to be self-reliant on our energy. We knew that. Rachel outlined that in the speech today. The government got rid of our gas storage. They've created this situation now. They want to blame Ukraine, the war in Ukraine. They want to blame Putin. They want to blame external global forces. Well, I'm sorry, you've known this. You've known we've needed to tackle things like, nuclear energy. Boris was saying we're going to get one a year. I mean, he's living in cloud cuckoo land, quite frankly. It's like his hospitals, we're going to get 40-odd hospitals. We've not had 40-odd new hospitals. It's just like, but the problem I've got with that is that the public then think we're all cynical and that we're all liars, and that's not true. And the one thing that I was asked when Liz Truss was elected as Prime Minister is, what do you think will change? You've got to have some positive, Ange. And I said that actually the one thing I think will change is that there'll be respect and some level of standards in public life again, because Boris has lowered the standard to a level that we'd never seen before. Even John Major and others have spoke about it. And then of course we've had the situation where a chief of staff this week is being investigated by the FBI and is seconded and not even employed by Number 10. It's just very murky, and I think not only does it do damage to the Conservatives, but it's really doing damage to our political brand, which again, that impacts on us globally and impacts on the market. People don't trust us politicians to make the right decisions because of what the Conservatives are doing at the moment. And I think Rachel set out today actually a calm, level-headed, we will be responsible on the economy, we will not give uncosted, commitments, and we will make sure that we set Britain on a path that if we're going to invest in infrastructure jointly with business, that actually the British people own a stake in it. That's right, and I think it's proper, and I think people can get on board with that.
Given what's happened the past week, essentially, that big announcement, what's happened to the panel, is it part of you that misses Boris Johnson? At least you knew where you were.
Gosh, no, I can't ever say I'll miss Boris Johnson because, I've been really outspoken about because Boris Johnson has said some pretty awful things, right? And I've said it quite categorically that if he was a bus driver, if he worked in the local supermarket, he wouldn't last 5 minutes with some of the things that he's come out with. I think that's wrong. I think he thinks he can get away with it because he's from a certain type of class and he thinks that it's okay and it's boisterous. I'm sorry, the ordinary worker in the UK would not get away with what he says. All I ask for is that people are treated by the same standard. He doesn't. I think he lowered standards in politics, so I don't miss him at all. I am completely aghast with what Liz Truss has done in office. I think they're out of ideas. They're literally casino gambling the future of the UK now because they've lost all sense of how they can deal with the situation with the economy, because they know that they're not working in the interest of the UK PLC. They promised a Brexit deal that would profit our country. They've not failed to do that, and therefore they're now digging for the last ditch attempt, and it's really dangerous what they're saying they'll do now.
Because it's interesting, because clearly pursuing an ideology of smaller state, cut tax and all that. Do you think?
Well, we haven't got a smaller state. The massive intervention, the huge intervention. You could see John McDonnell blushing the amount of billions that they've literally put on the debt that they're into because of the state intervention. I wouldn't call them small state at the moment.
Is she sort of? Actually, the question I was asked: do you think she's mad or bad? Is she mad to think this is going to work, or is she pursuing with genuine conviction this sort of bad ideology, do you think?
I think it's bad ideology that she's pursuing that she thinks will work, but the problem is that it's been tried and tested before and it doesn't work, and it will not create the long-term sustainable growth and also the self-reliance on our energy that we need for the future, actually. So I think it's ideologically driven, whereas actually, ironically, the Labour Party is in a position now where we're being incredibly pragmatic to the point where we're criticised because we're not saying we'll nationalise everything. We're being incredibly pragmatic, whereas the Conservatives are being very ideological. That's what I'd say is the biggest turnaround since Liz Truss came in.
I want to ask about your new opposite number, Dre's Coffee.
Yeah, Dr. Dre, boom. I'm going to play Tupac. I'm going to bring the whole
That's
sort
her
of...
alarm, her 8 o'clock alarm.
Yeah.
Maybe yeah.
I'm changing mine to Tupac.
Are
I
you?
think we just got to go with the whole rivalry thing.
Yeah. Is that East Coast, West Coast?
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Well, people of a certain age, Matt, will understand the Tupac, Dr. Dre thing.
Yeah. We thought you might have done PMQs for the last week, and then...
Yeah, it's the timetable. It all went a bit strange.
Do you know very much? Are you looking forward to going toe-to-toe with her?
I'm looking forward to it, yeah. I think it'll be good fun.
Who do you think likes to drink more?
Don't know, but maybe we should do that.
Maybe we should go for
Maybe we should just do that. Say, right, instead of PMQs,
drunk
shots.
PMQs.
Jaeger bombs.
Yeah.
How many Jaeger bombs
Is that
can
what
you
you
do?
get? Do you like a Jaeger bomb?
I can do a Jaeger bomb.
I like a Jaeger bomb.
You know, I can do a Sambuca, any flavour.
Any flavour?
I'm
not big on a Sambuca.
There's some other little shots which I'm not going to say on your show because they have rude names, but there's plenty of shots I can do.
What are they?
There's I think it's like a baby Guinness. Have you had a baby Guinness?
No.
Matt, you've not lived.
I had a brain hemorrhage once.
Well, yeah.
That was Bailey's with aftershock in it.
Yeah.
And it all curdled.
It's pretty gross, isn't it?
Really disgusting.
Yeah, there's another one called a slippery. I'm not going to mention the rest
you can
of
say
it.
Nipple.
It's just tacky, innit? But they're nice.
I've said it now.
They're quite tasty.
That's what you like.
But I think we should just line up the shots.
Hang on, we're lining this up. Instead of PMQs, you're going to go and have some slippery nipples with Therese coffee.
This sounds wrong, doesn't it? Maybe we should just stick with PMQs.
We'll just stick with PMQs.
She'd probably beat me at the shots, if I'm honest. I'd be more nervous there than I would be at PMQs.
If Labour win the next election, will you be Deputy Prime Minister?
Yes.
And will you have a department the same as Therese coffee?
Well, I'd have a department because I've got like a million jobs, haven't I?
Oh, yeah. How many job titles? You've got more job titles than her.
I have got quite a few, yeah.
You remember them? You can't remember the slogan. Can you remember all your job titles?
Of course I can. I'm the Shadow First Secretary of State, Shadow Secretary for the Future of Work, Shadow Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, and Deputy Leader of the Labour Party, and the MP, of course, for the wonderful Ashton-under-Lyne constituency.
Good.
I had to learn them on that day. I was seriously concerned about that I would forget one of my titles, especially the Shadow Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster. Yeah. I mean, what title is that? If you ask the general public what does that mean, they'd be like, what? I just say Shadow Cabinet.
Exactly, and that's a big job as well.
It is a big job, yeah.
Is that what you do? Would you run the Cabinet Office?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And would you have a Ministry of the Future of Work?
I would.
Oh, will you?
I would love it. I would land grab and make sure. I mean, to be honest, with the Cabinet Office and the Future Work, a lot of that is consumed within itself. So, have you seen from our programme, actually, the industrial strategy that Johnny set out today, the stuff that Rachel has said about the National Wealth Fund, our proposal on procurement, as well as the New Deal for Working People, is like actually all about Cabinet and Future Work. So it all works together. And
talking about the future of work, future of your work, given you've been in this job for a while now, you've seen Keir up close, would you ever want to be leader?
I've seen what we do to leaders. I want to be Deputy Prime Minister. I mean, that would just be like, I'm going to do Spice Girls Want to Be outside number 10. If we get there, as well as the serious stuff, obviously. I mean, you've heard me singing karaoke voice now, probably best not. But definitely want to do the Spice Girls sing outside number 10.
Yeah.
For those that were like me, around in the 90s. I think we've got to relive that. 90s, 1997?
Yeah.
Wasn't a bad year.
No. Well, I was, 14, 15?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had we had the Hacienda still just about, good music in Manchester,
Well, in my birthday at the weekend, we only had 90s music.
Yeah, I mean, the 90s was just so good. Yeah.
Get back to the 90s.
But that's because we're old now, you see.
No, we're not.
The younger generation of today would say, this era is good. It's it's all relative, Matt. We've just become old people.
Are you on TikTok?
No, but apparently my kids say a trend on it regular.
Do you?
Apparently so, yeah. My kids send me stuff. There's this thing of this meme of me and Dominic Raab.
Oh yeah.
On TikTok, and then they put like really silly lips on me and Dominic, and it was really funny, and my son sent it to me, and I thought, okay.
I think you'd go down well on TikTok. I think the young people would
Apparently
like it.
I do, yeah. My 13 and 14-year-old tell me that I trend on TikTok quite regular.
Well, that's the future.
Apparently so.
That's the future of work.
Yeah, well, we did the on the line harms bill. We got to sort it out, because actually it is, they're all online these days, and it's just, there's so much harmful content out there that, it is something we need to get a grip of.
So when people leave here after the conference, what do you want there to be the main thing that the public, who may not be watching every single moment of the live stream, what do you want to take away from this week that they didn't know last week?
That we're actually the alternative, and that we can change Britain for the better. And we're a serious government in waiting, and they can't wait to get us in, itching to get in there and vote for Labour. That's what we need to get.
Angela, it's always a delight. I feel like we've covered a lot of ground.